Welcome back to Agent Confidential. I think a lot of people are missing the biggest thing that happened on Capitol Hill this week. It wasn't what Nick Saban said. It wasn't what Ted Cruz said. It wasn't what the Notre Dame Athletic Director said. The biggest thing was realizing that Congress, coaches, athletic directors, university presidents, conferences, and media stakeholders are now all trying to shape the same governance framework. 12 months ago, these conversations were happening in separate rooms. Today, they're happening in the same conversation. So rather than recap the hearing, I want to talk about 5 things it revealed about who is really shaping the future of college sports.
Perspective, if you had the biggest, baddest Ferrari that you could ever have and it was going 150 miles an hour toward the Grand Canyon, somebody needs to tap the brakes. And I think that's what we all need to do here.
The Ferrari going 150 miles per hour towards the Grand Canyon may end up being the quote of the hearing. But what struck me wasn't the analogy, it was what was behind it. Nick Saban isn't really talking about football here. He's talking about a governance structure that lost control of the economics. The money moved faster than the rules. NIL moved faster than the rules. The transfer portal moved faster than the rules. And now everybody is trying to catch up. When Saban says someone needs to tap the brakes, what he's really saying is the economics got ahead of the governance. And that's the central challenge facing college sports right now.
Saban said, hey, it's not perfect, but it's progress. It's tremendous progress. And if we don't act now, I fear the future of college sports.
When Pete Bevacqua says we need to act now, most people hear an athletic director. I hear a media executive. Remember, he spent years at NBC. He understands television. He understands media rights. He understands distribution. And he understands audience aggregation. So when he talks about the future of college football, I don't just hear concern. I hear somebody who understands how quickly business models can change when the economics shift. And that brings us to perhaps the most revealing comment of the entire hearing.
To outrageous salary contracts, reduced the academic mission of being a student athlete, and abrogated too much power to athletic directors and conference commissioners. Some, by the way, who seem more aligned with media companies than with their own universities.
When Gordon G suggested that some athletic directors and conference commissioners appear more aligned with media companies than their universities, I nearly fell out of my chair. That's not a casual observation. That's a university president with decades of experience talking about incentives. And incentives matter. Conference commissioners negotiate media contracts. Athletic departments increasingly depend upon media revenue. Universities have broader missions. Those incentives don't always align. I don't think Gordon G was accusing anybody of bad motives. I think he was highlighting a reality. Not everybody sitting at the table is optimizing for the same outcome. And that's a very important observation.
That college sports is in crisis. It's driven by chaos, court cases, and evasion of rules. And if this continues, we're going to be left with 30 to 50 teams in essentially a mini NFL.
Whether you agree with Ted Cruz or not politically isn't really the point. The point is, he described college sports as chaotic. And frankly, a lot of stakeholders seem to agree. The interesting question isn't whether there is chaos. The interesting question is who gets to restore order? Congress, the NCAA, the conferences, the courts, university presidents? That's really what this debate is becoming. A debate about who gets to write the next rule book and who will enforce the rules when it's written. Which brings us to the 2 most powerful stakeholders who weren't sitting at the witness table. One of the most interesting things about this hearing was who wasn't there: the SEC, the Big Ten. Before the hearing, the two conferences released a statement making clear they do not support the Protect College Sports Act as currently drafted. That doesn't mean they oppose the national framework. It means they want a meaningful role in shaping it. And honestly, that is not surprising. These are the two most powerful conferences in college sports. They control enormous revenue. They command enormous influence. And they expect to have a voice in whatever comes next. Which brings me back to where we started. What struck me wasn't any individual comment. It wasn't any individual witness. It was realizing that Congress, conferences, coaches, ADs, university presidents, media stakeholders are all trying to shape the same governance framework. 12 months ago, these conversations were happening in separate rooms. Today, they're happening in the same conversation. And that's why I believe college sports is entering a new phase. Many of the ideas I've discussed here are explored in much greater detail in Agent Confidential. If you enjoy this type of analysis, I would appreciate you subscribing to the Agent Confidential YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.